they lost all my fucking stuff.
I'm pretty sure it said
so at that point, that does not equal going into the highest credit card balance I've ever seen in the history of the show. Why are we in Capital One debt? And better question, why the f are you spending on it when it's accruing fees, interest? You purchased double what you put towards it. You can giggle through that. I get that that's why you're doing that. I'm not gonna allow that. Told you've been bailed out before.
We've been in debt twice, but...
So we had like $15,000 of credit card debt. She
A woman used her emergency credit card for non-emergencies. A couple bankrupt, not once, not twice, 4 times. And this guy, he has the highest credit card balance Caleb Hammer has ever seen on his show. Now, Caleb's got almost 3 million followers yelling at people about their money, and he's good at it. But I've spent 15 years on the other side of the desk. I'm the banker who actually approved those credit cards. I saw these people walk in, sign the paperwork, and walk out thinking everything was fine. So today, I'm not just reacting, I'm showing you what the bank sees that Caleb doesn't. Let's watch.
Why are we in Capital One debt? And better question, why the f are you spending on it when it's accruing fees, interest? You purchased double what you put towards it. You can giggle through that. I get that that's why you're doing that. I'm not gonna allow that to piss me off. You're coping, I get it. But why the f?
That Capital One credit card was supposed to be the emergency credit card that you never use ever.
No. Emergency credit card, let's get rid of that term. It is a thing in many households, and that's why we're
Okay.
emergency fund. A stack of cash sitting in a high-yield savings account that you use only in the case of emergencies.
Credit card is
if you
debt,
don't have
it's
it, you have to
liability,
use
it's
an
an
emergency credit card to save your dog's life. I do get that.
You gotta
and then
pay
you
it
do
back.
it, and then you sacrifice everything in your life to pay it off as quick as possible, and then save up for a fully funded emergency fund. That's what you do if you have to use an emergency credit card because you don't have an emergency fund. But guess what? You're just using this on an emergency thing. You're going inside, getting a drink from a gas station, going to the cinema, and
That doesn't
going
sound
to,
like an emergency.
What is this John Casablanca thing? That's what you're doing. You're doing those 3 things. Those are not emergencies. And why are we in Capital One?
I gotta agree with Caleb on this one. Those don't sound or look like emergencies. And in my opinion, an emergency fund shouldn't charge you when you have to use it. Credit card, if you call that an emergency fund and you're being charged, it's not a fund, it's a debt. So with these credit cards, the moment you use them, you have a payment cycle or a utilization cycle, typically 30 days or month to month. When you use it and you keep a balance or a balance tallies at the end of your cycle, there's an outstanding balance. If you don't pay the whole amount, the interest occurred. Basically, the lender, Capital One in this situation, has approved a certain limit on your credit card, let's say $5,000. They trust you with $5,000 unsecured, meaning they don't have any collateral behind it other than your guarantee, meaning you as a person will promise to pay it back if you use it. Saying $5,000 is the limit for her, she can use that amount if she's so willing. Pay us back. Now, after your cycle ends, right, and you have an outstanding balance, that's where they take the percentage. So $5,000, let's say you use $1,000 of that within that month or payment cycle. Let's say round numbers, 30% is your interest rate. Now that's typically APR, annual percentage rate. People think annual, no, annual is 12 months. So what they do, let's say $1,000, right? 30% of that is $300, right? $300 divided by 12, because there's 12 months in a year. Let's say this is the beginning of the year and you use it up. So within that $300 divided by 12, rough numbers, let's see, 30, 35, let's call it $35 to $40, right? So within that $1,000, if you don't use it up, your interest accrued from that, broken down into that month, is around $35 to $40. So you not only have to pay back $1,000, but an additional interest for Capital One allowing you to use their funds. It's not your money, it's Capital One's money. And because you used it, they're charging you interest for using their money. So that's high level of how it works in terms of credit card. But hopefully that was helpful. Let's take a look at the comments real quick. I have $264,000 in student loan debt, and it's pretty much my only debt. I have $600 medical debt, no credit card, but aside that, I'm broke. $264,000 in student loan debt. I'm a millennial. I can't fathom these types of debts because I graduated college in 2007, graduated high school in 2003. I did mine in business, concentration in finance. It didn't cost me that much. And I went to a state school, so it was even cheaper. Probably cost me, I want to say, $2,000 to $4,000 per semester. And I was eligible for grants. My family and I were low income, and I was able to qualify for these grants while working a full-time job. So after I graduated, I didn't really have any debt because I was paying it off as I was going through school. But I really feel for the folks I wonder what's your degree in? Hopefully it's something useful that you can use outside of college when you finish, but man, that's a lot. All right, let's take a look at the next video.
I'm being told you've been bailed out before.
We've been in debt twice, but
So we had like $15,000 of credit card
Whoa!
debt. She lost her job and they gave her really good severance. She got another job within 4 weeks. We used this severance to pay off all of our debt and we actually brought it down to zero.
okay.
And then brought it back up to a little over $15,000 again.
Oh. Why do this to yourself again?
the last time we got into a car accident and we got
You got
money
insurance?
back for the car. We used what was left to pay off
debt.
more debt.
So the cycle is now happening for the 4th time?
Jeez. And you know what? It's common. What I do, and I'm hoping we don't have this cycle in terms of my generation. My wife, I don't know. I don't think so. But for my kids is I have 2 in elementary, 1 in middle school right now. And I'm teaching them about the value of money, about borrowing, about loans, early on, because they should know. They don't teach it in school. They don't teach that in elementary school, middle school, and when they get to high school, I want to make sure they're prepared. So things like this, for instance, at home, they have chores, they have an ability to earn money, and it's up to them whether they want to save or they want to make a purchase with it. We do our weekend errands and runs where we'll go to Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, wherever for daily household supplies that we need and whatever else. But it's on them of how they want to use their money. But money is their money, right? And I teach them, listen, you can save for a bigger purchase down the line or just save to save so you have money, right? Or you can choose to spend a portion if you really want something right now or you need something right now for school or whatever it is. So really teaching them early, I'm hoping to avoid, and I really appreciate these people for getting on Caleb's show and Caleb for putting on shows like this because it is an example, right? Nonetheless, even though it's for most people considered bad because of their debt and the situation they're in and the cycle, but it gives me an example to react to from my background and my experience, and to tell my kids and show my kids about, hey, listen, these are the things that can happen if you let it get out of hand in terms of your spending. So with that, let's take a look at the comments here. Why is no one talking about Caleb Frog baby image? I reacted to it as soon as I saw it. Oh, I thought it was pretty cool. AI for sure, man. AI is just ridiculous. It is, man, it's crazy. In the words of John Kramer, you can't help them. They have to help themselves. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. So, anyone with a little bit of editing ability here, hear me out. Frog Caleb with a cinema meme. Theme captioned financial cinema. Here it is right here. The Caleb Hammer Frog. Let's take a look at the next video.
I'm not surprised I have one of the highest balanced credit cards I've ever seen in my life.
It makes sense when we get into it.
Make it make sense.
What's the balance?
Bought a house. I mean, I moved here less than a year ago.
But you said because of buying a house is the reason why we'd be in that much credit card debt,
Well,
meaning we couldn't afford to buy the
So
house.
the movers lost my stuff when I got here.
Did you get
So
insurance?
did you lose everything?
The couch. I lost the couch. The table was broken.
Okay, tell me what you actually lost then. The couch and the table.
Couch, table, a couple of like dressers were broken for like kids.
Couple dressers?
Bent metal dressers.
What else did we lose?
I think those are the major things.
Okay, then this is where I would end up because you told me you lost everything.
I didn't say I lost everything. I said
You
I
just
lost
said
my
that.
stuff. The movers lost my stuff when I got here.
Oh, my stuff.
I
My
think
stuff. If
I think
if I
it's-
said my movers lost my stuff,
I'm-
I would think they lost all my fucking stuff.
I'm pretty sure it
Listen,
said
so
town.
at that point, that does not equal going into the highest credit card balance I've ever seen in the history of the show.
What is it? What is it? Oh man, I gotta watch that show then to find out. Alright, let's jump straight into the comments on this one. I want to take a look. How much was the see? How much was the balance? Because people show up with crazy debt. Let's take a look at the reply if there's anything on here. About $26,000 in debt. Shouldn't they pay you for that? I'm assuming they're talking about the movers. So if you hire a moving company, as far as I'm concerned, I believe they have insurance plans for things like that. Because your valuables, if it gets broken, damaged, should cover it. I've had a few neighbors in the neighborhood move, and they've hired moving companies, and they got insurance. So they just file a claim with the insurance in terms of the damage, take pictures for proof or evidence, and send it, right? And then insurance will reimburse them for either damages, or if it was a total wreck or a total damage. Let's say the moving company got in a wreck, right? Or an accident. All your stuff is ruined, literally. Those are situations where insurance really comes in handy. Or just the driver is just hard-footed on the gas, hard-footed on the brakes, no concern for delicacy. Your stuff could get damaged while it's in transit, so things like that. Military, and we moved 10 times in the past 20 years, and we lost half of our items in one move. They only paid us a quarter of what we needed. Well, there you go. Alright, let's read one more. The military is in charge of the move, and they would have dealt with moving company to have things replaced. When our things have been broken, we get a check for it. See? There you go. That's what I was talking about. Here's what Caleb can't tell you because he's never sat where I sat. When someone walks into a bank with $50,000 in credit card debt, we don't judge them. We expected them. The system isn't designed to let you borrow more than you should. The minimum payments are designed to keep you in debt for decades. The credit limit increases, they're not rewards, they're traps. I watched it happen for 15 years. So no, I'm not here to yell at these people. I'm here to tell you, if any of this sounds familiar, you're not broken. You just never had someone from the inside explain the game. That's what this channel is for. Subscribe if you want a banker who's finally telling the truth, and drop debt-free in the comments. I want to know, what's the one money lesson you wish someone taught you earlier? Remember, make smart moves, not just loud ones. I'll see you on the next video.